Greetings, friends. In this short little video, we want to go over sampling techniques and what you need to do in order to be able to ensure that you have a good data set from which to draw upon in order to be able to do your analysis. As we've said a number of times, any kind of a system is only as good as any type of a methodology is only as good as the data that you put into it. And if you have poor data, then you're not going to get good results, no matter how fancy your analysis is, no matter how well you how well you code and devise your themes, or do your t-tests, ANOVAs, or correlations. You're not going to get anywhere unless you have good data. And so what you need to do in order to be able to do that is pick the right folks to be able to include into your study. So what we want to do in this short video is talk about how to sample a population, how to get a good representation from the population that you're studying in order to be able to get good data. So the first question that you have to answer is, who are the individuals that you're going to be studying? What is the large group that you're going to be drawing from? Once you do that, what you've done is you identify what's called the population. And the population are all the individuals who have a particular characteristic that you're going to be studying. Very seldom are you going to be able to study the whole population, so you want to get a representation from that population group that you are going to study. In research methodology, we call that the population or target population, and you are going to then, from that, draw a sample. So we talk about sample size as a way of drawing from the larger group, a smaller group that you can study. And if we do our work right, we will be able to infer characteristics about this larger population from the smaller group that we are studying. Now there is a difference between qualitative and quantitative sampling. What we are going to take a look at is the methodology for quantitative sampling. In quantitative sampling, what we do is we get what we call a random sample, a sample that statistically should be representative of the whole. Now, as we've shown you when we've done the analysis, there's always a chance that you might not get a true random sample. But what we try to do is ahead of time do the work to give us a best chance at that. Now, what we do in quantitative work is not a true random sample because we just don't select the 100th person on a list of the entire population of everybody in the world or in the universe or even in the United States. We do what's called purposeful random sampling. That means we take we pre-select a small population, and from that we randomize that population to get the best results. Now, in quantitative sampling, there are two different kinds of sampling, what's called probabilistic sampling and non-probabilistic sampling, or probability sampling and non-probability sampling. And what those names mean is just pretty much what it sounds like. In a probability sample, then you're getting a equal chance of getting a true representation of a larger group, a larger sample. In non-probabilistic sampling, you understand from the get-go that your sample might be somewhat skewed or somewhat narrow, but you can do that if you identify that ahead of time, and then you know that individuals are looking at a particular kind of a subset of a group. So you identify in advance the subsample would be maybe individuals of a particular ethnicity on a campus. Then you're going to go ahead and you maybe just draw from a club that meets. That would be called convenience sampling. Or if you had that club recommend other clubs, that's called snowball sampling. Anyway, these samplings are non-probabilistic in that you did narrow the population in advance. So if you want to pause on this slide for a second, and you'll be able to get the technical definition of each of these different sampling techniques. And in your paper, what you will do is you will actually describe which of these sampling techniques you used in your quantitative research methodology. Now, qualitative sampling methods are a little bit different, although there are some names that you're going to draw from. And what you do is you in a qualitative research piece, you are going to actually specifically draw on people who share like characteristics, and you will be very purposeful in identifying who those individuals are. There's a very helpful chart here. Comes from the other textbook, the other Creswell textbook that we used to use in this course. A little more detailed, than we need. But you see some of the same names here. Snowball sampling. What you would do with this is actually find people that that you want to study, and then ask them to refer you to other people. And like a snowball going down the hill that gathers snow, same kind of thing. You keep asking people who will refer people, and you ask those people to refer people as well. Extreme case sampling. If you have a particular idea that you're studying, problem that you're studying, like bullying, or first year freshmen who've had particular kind of extreme experiences, traumatic experiences, might be part of a particular kind of an ethnic group. Anyway, you'll see in all of this certain kinds of definitions of different kinds of sampling. And you would do the same thing on this as you would for a quantitative piece. You would identify which sampling technique you were going to use, and then identify that in the sampling section of the paper that you were going to write.